The news that Mike McDaniel will keep his position as the Miami Dolphins head coach through the end of the 2025 season came right after the kind of night that sticks in everyone's mind for the wrong reasons. Thursday, lights. Baltimore Ravens on the other side. A game that was supposed to be about bouncing back turned into a slow fall that no one could quite stop watching. The scoreboard showed 28-6 at Hard Rock Stadium, but it wasn't just about the score. It was about choices, decisions that didn't scream disaster on paper, yet somehow managed to echo through the air like they had a deeper meaning. You could almost feel the weight of them in the silence that came after each missed opportunity. Two moments stood out: the choice to defer after winning the coin toss, and the strange decision to dress only two halfbacks for the game. Not earth-shattering mistakes, not the kind that make or break a season instantly, but they left a strange taste. Because it's not just about what happens in a single game. It's about what those choices say. About control, about confidence, about the rhythm a coach wants to set for his team. McDaniel's Dolphins looked unsure. The kind of unsure that doesn't come from lack of talent, but from the quiet doubt that creeps in when the details start slipping away. The thing about this Dolphins team is that just a week before, they looked like a storm. Atlanta never stood a chance. The running game flowed like it finally found its voice. Devon Achane cutting through lanes, Ollie Gordon powering through defenders, and Jalen Wright adding that spark. Three different runners, three different energies, all creating balance. It was messy in the best way. The kind of chaos defenses can't prepare for. McDaniel even talked about it. How much he liked the mix, how it kept defenses guessing. And then Baltimore came, and suddenly Wright wasn't in uniform. 6 wide receivers were. 6. When the game plan had just proven that the ground was the Dolphins' best friend, that pounding the ball was how they found rhythm, how they took control. Instead, the roster leaned toward air. You can't help but wonder what the reasoning really was. When Gordon's ankle gave out and Achane was left alone, it felt like a gamble gone wrong. Not because Wright would have changed everything, but because the absence said something about priorities, about focus. After the game, McDaniel tried to explain. He talked about special teams, about numbers, about guys being banged up. The usual words coaches use when there's no clear answer that feels right. He mentioned balance, mentioned how he liked the 3-back rotation, how they just had to make a call. But when the logic rests on needing 6 receivers, when 3 barely touched special teams and 2 barely saw the field, the explanation starts to feel like a thin cover for something deeper. Jalen Waddle? Of course, he plays. But Cedric Wilson Jr. and Taj Washington? Combined, they barely saw the game. 23 snaps between them. And Wright, watching from the sideline, could have been there to ease the load when Gordon fell. Could have kept the offense breathing. Instead, it felt like the Dolphins were stuck in a box they built themselves. It's not hindsight. It's the obvious staring back. That's the thing. Sometimes it's not about being wrong. It's about what happens when small decisions start to pile up, when the logic that once made sense becomes habit, and habit becomes weakness. The Dolphins can't afford that kind of thinking. Not when every game starts to carry the weight of expectation. Then there's the other decision, the one that doesn't come down to injuries or roster depth. The choice to receive after winning the toss. The shift. Earlier this season, McDaniel's Dolphins would defer, trusting the second half, trusting momentum. But lately, they've chosen to start with the ball. It sounds like a statement, like taking control. But control is only real if it leads somewhere. Against New England, it began. Then it became a pattern. 4 straight times now, Jets, Chargers, Falcons, Ravens, they've taken the ball. And what has it led to? 2 field goals, 1 punt, 1 interception. 6 points total. Meanwhile, those second-half kickoffs handed to opponents have led to touchdowns. Twice. You start to wonder what changed. Was it confidence, impulse, or just a team trying to force something that isn't there anymore? This isn't about analytics or data sheets. It's about feeling the game, about knowing when your offense can make a statement and when it can't. The Dolphins, right now, aren't that kind of offense. They don't strike fear the way they did when everything clicked early in the season. There's hesitation where there used to be rhythm. So why keep taking the ball first? That decision against Baltimore felt symbolic, like chasing something that slipped away weeks ago. When the Ravens started the second half with that long, crushing drive, marching down the field and turning a manageable deficit into a mountain, it wasn't just about points. It was about timing, about the sense that the Dolphins had lost the beat. McDaniel's philosophy has always been about creativity, about controlling tempo, but somewhere along the line, the rhythm got complicated. You can see it in the play calls that used to feel alive, now just mechanical. You can feel it in the body language on the sideline, players glancing at each other like they're searching for a spark that isn't there. Maybe keeping McDaniel through 2025 is the right move. Continuity matters. Growth takes time. But maybe it's also a challenge, a silent demand to evolve, to stop being clever for the sake of cleverness, to simplify, to trust instincts again instead of the endless mental chess that seems to have drained the joy from this team's style. Because that's what it feels like. The Dolphins have forgotten how to play free. Think about what made this team dangerous. Unpredictability. The sense that at any moment, Tyreek Hill could explode, or a chain could turn a 3-yard hole into a 40-yard sprint. The fear that McDaniel's system could shift mid-drive, that defenses never knew where the next hit was coming from. That's what made them electric. That's what made them different. Now it's all too predictable. Deferring, receiving, these aren't just tactical choices. They're reflections of mindset. When a coach decides to defer, he's saying, I trust my team to close. When he decides to receive, he's saying, I need to control this early. Lately, McDaniel's Dolphins have been chasing control. But control built on uncertainty isn't control at all. It's panic disguised as confidence. The third quarter tells the story best. The Dolphins, outscored 63-27 this season in that stretch, seem to unravel after halftime. It's when the energy dips, when adjustments from the other side start landing harder. The Ravens game made it clearer than ever. Outscored 14-0 in that quarter alone, watching the momentum drain out of the building. It's the kind of pattern that doesn't happen by accident. Maybe McDaniel sees it too. Maybe that's why he's still here, because there's belief that he can fix it. The front office didn't panic. They didn't make the easy move of cutting ties. They looked at the bigger picture. The offense still shows flashes, the defense still fights, and the structure is there. But flashes don't win playoff games. Consistency does. And that's the one thing this Dolphins team keeps missing. There's something about watching a talented team stumble that cuts deeper than watching a bad one lose. Because you know what they could be. You've seen it. You've seen the speed, the power, the timing that once felt effortless. It's not gone. It's buried. Hidden under overthinking, under the weight of decisions that try too hard to be smart. Sometimes it feels like McDaniel is coaching against ghosts. The ghosts of expectations, of last year's headlines, of the endless talk about innovation and schemes. But the NFL doesn't care about schemes. When you're down 2 scores in the third quarter, it cares about results. And that's where this gets tricky. Because while keeping McDaniel through 2025 might sound like patience, it also sounds like a dare. Can he strip it back down? Can he lead without overcomplicating? Can he stop trying to outthink the room and start feeling the game again? Because this team, this group of players that's fast, explosive, unpredictable, needs that. They need a coach who breathes with them, not one calculating every second like it's a math problem. The Thursday loss wasn't a disaster because of one bad decision. It was a mirror, a reflection of a team stuck between identity and execution. A team that doesn't quite know what it wants to be anymore. The Dolphins that ran wild against Atlanta aren't gone. They're waiting. Waiting for the call. Waiting for the trust. Waiting for the moment McDaniel looks across the field and decides to let them be themselves again. Until then, every coin toss, every roster choice, every third-quarter collapse will keep whispering the same question. Does he still have the touch to bring it back? And if he does, maybe keeping him through 2025 won't just be an administrative decision. Maybe it'll be the start of the next chapter, the one where the Dolphins stop thinking about what they could be and start showing it again.